previously on the war, kill or be killed.
Police alleged that their crime syndicate was a $1 billion business.
The same group of criminals were involved in all of those murders, and Bill Al Houcher was right at the centre of that group.
You know, one of the messages that's come out over the last few years is there are no safe havens overseas.
So the more we dig around after Moradian's murder, then comes another player we'd never heard of. He is a known associate of Alan Moradian. What we now know is that the third associate between Moradian and AA was Andre Kalita. I've never seen their personal bodyguards waiting outside. We find out there's an $800,000 contract take out a guy called Andre Kalita, and his associations with Moradian take him deep into the commission. He'd been involved in a high-speed police chase. He was in a Lamborghini, and I think part of his defence was he thought somebody was out to kill him. And then he has a court appearance at Parramatta Court that is the most bizarre I've seen in 43 years of covering crime. So he's there because he's been given a home detention order over the car chase. He's saying, I don't want to tell corrections where I'm living, even to get a home bracelet. So when we turn up at the court, out the front are 4 huge guards. Now, Raptor turned them over, the anti-gang squad, to make sure they don't have weapons, obviously. The guy Andre's turned up in a racing Porsche. I've actually run into Andre while we're on the first floor of Parramatta Court. I said, we're covering this for the war with the murder of a Moradian. He said, actually, he was a good mate of mine, and then he clams up. Had a bit of a chat to him. He's very worried about his safety. Outside after the court case, he's actually shadowed into his Porsche. What pulls up behind him is a 4-wheel drive Bentley. They're getting into the Bentley, and in the front is a 4-wheel drive Lamborghini. There's got to be like over $1 million worth of cars. And then as a convoy leaves. The fact that they're not allowed to have weapons means they're only there for one reason. They have to take a bullet. Your client, Andre Kalita, apparently had a contract taken out on his life according to police. Is he worried about his life?
Oh, absolutely. He's really concerned because the threats that the police are investigating are credible.
Would he like to leave the country?
He would like to leave the country. He feels that if he's able to leave Australia, live elsewhere peacefully, he has a chance of prolonging his life.
You had another client called Alan Moradian, who wanted to leave the country because he believed there was a fear on his life, and he eventually was killed. Are you able to talk about that at all?
I can't, out of respect for the family and my client's wife's instructions. No, I can't.
But do you believe now that the police, since particularly that, seem a little more amenable to helping these guys who are targets?
I do, and I think it's a really positive movement by the police and a positive attempt to save people's lives. I think, first of all, they have a duty to save everyone's lives and protect and serve everyone. And secondly, what we've seen in these internecine wars that have been going on between various groups, that innocent people get killed. And that's really, really atrocious.
I believe that your client was possibly going to be killed in the middle of the city. Had you heard anything along those lines?
I did, and in relation to the efforts that the police have undertaken to ensure his safety when he's been moving, certain parts of the city were sealed off.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't even know that.
So they went to quite considerable lengths to ensure his safety, which was to their credit.
Now he's in custody again. I believe it's for refusing to answer questions to the Crime Commission.
At the moment I can't answer that, but there'll be developments in that regard in the next week or so.
It's alleged that the intended shooter in this incident was going to be receiving upwards of $400,000.
So it's 10:30 a.m. in the morning, and Azam Al Muhammad gets into a taxi just like this one and asks it to go to Wellington Street in Waterloo. It's an area full of social housing and known for drug dealing. This is the spot where Azam Al Muhammad caught a taxi to, and he got out and asked the taxi driver to wait. So what police allege Al Muhammad didn't realise as he ran into this building and came back out and got into his taxi is that there was 2 officers sitting just across the street doing undercover work on this area. And so by Al Muhammad getting out of a taxi, asking it to wait, running inside for a short period of time and getting back in, what that said to those officers was that a drug deal had probably gone down. So Al Muhammad comes back and gets into the waiting taxi. And as he does so, the driver takes off, and just a little bit further down the road, the cops who were watching him across the street pulled the taxi over, and Al Muhammad did a runner. A short time later, with some backup, police would find him a few blocks away trying to jump a fence not far from here in Waterloo. And then they came back to the taxi, and it's what they found here that led them to uncover the plot to kill Andre Kalita. And that's because in a backpack, which Al Muhammad had allegedly brought with him, they found a pair of gloves, a balaclava, 2 guns, and 2 mobile phones. And when they went through those phones, they allegedly found more messages between Al Muhammad, his cousin Suleiman Ahmed, detailing the whole plot to kill Kalita.
This is Day Street Police Station, 150 metres away from the heart of the city, and this is apparently where they believe they were going to try and knock him. I've got the text here that on Christmas night, police allege is a conspiracy to knock Andre Kalita with 2 cousins, Suleiman Ahmed and Azam Al Muhammad chatting. He actually asked him if he knows anyone who can be a getaway driver. Now, this is what the police are alleging that they've captured on text messages. He said, need a driver for Wednesday. You make 100, come see me if you're serious, car's ready. Now, his cousin says he knows a woman who can do it. Ahmed said, no girl, it's for a hit. His cousin goes, okay, but is the bloke getting got for good or just touched up a bit? He basically says in replies, he goes, no mate, they want him dead. So then the price starts going up and the texts say, mentioning 400, 450 or even more. Then Al Muhammad says, if I pop him and he doesn't die, but he gets fucked up, do we still get paid? His cousin goes, nah, depends how bad. They want him gone. A plot to kill somebody outside a police station. That shows you the disregard for law that this new mob of criminals have. That in this war, they are willing not only just to spend huge amounts of money, but basically to say, we don't care where you are. Kalita is supposed to appear here and report for bail conditions. So they've figured out they probably can't find out where he lives, but they've found out somehow where he might be reporting. And they're thinking, well, the last place we can get him is outside a police station. Well, we'll do it outside a police station. So who would be behind wanting to take Andre out? One natural one could be it's the result of this conflict we know that's been going on between the Houches and the Comanchero, or it could be just a chaos theory. And that is where a third group will go in, get somebody killed or create a drama so that the Houches and the Comos keep going at each other.
Within a few weeks, we found out this wasn't just a one-off. Police had allegedly stopped multiple murders being carried out, including an attempt to take out all 4 members of Western Sydney rap group 1-4.
The issue is if you're associated with that criminal environment, you are subject to vulnerability. I don't think there's any secret that 1-4 are on the edges of those networks.
It emerges that there had been somebody for over a year working in Sydney's Underworld, giving police access to unlimited information about how the Underworld worked. Now, this guy was not an undercover. He was out for revenge because his young child had been accidentally shot
A young girl has been shot when her home in southern Sydney was targeted. The 9-year-old was helping her mother unpack groceries.
And he went to certain members of the Underworld and said, I want you guys to help. I want you to help me go and get revenge and shoot these guys who stuffed up the shooting and hurt my family member. When he was knocked back, he went to the police. This guy, he's a heavyweight. He's done time with the Houches, with a whole array of Sydney Underworld figures. Now, he would be connected everywhere. He would be letting them have phone numbers for crims, handles on their encrypted devices.
With infiltrating the Houches in particular, did New South Wales Police have an inside man here in Sydney who helped with that?
Oh, look, methodology as to how we solve crimes is not really something, I'd like to advertise. I don't think it's really in the benefit of anyone to disclose how we get our leads into jobs.
Stig from the Hunter Valley, then today 27-year-old Sione Langi, already behind bars on other matters. Police will allege he's the trigger man. Together, police say they are responsible for the death of Ferenc David Stemler.
Task Force Magnus was established in July 2023 to investigate 5 organised crime murders. As of today, I'm proud to say that we have solved each and every one of those murders.
So Task Force Magnus starts just hours after Ferenc Stemler is killed, and here you are now, months later, announcing that you've solved every single one of those murders. Are you wrapped?
Immensely proud, and it goes to the work, I guess, of the investigators on the ground. Like, we had people, toiling really 24/7 over these investigations.
The success of Magnus has been unprecedented, and those successes and the lessons learnt we have gained from Magnus continues through the work of the homicide squad and the criminal group squad. I'm unsure whether or not I can prove or show to the community that this will never occur again, because it will. We will see violence on our streets because the profits and the drugs that are flowing into Australia on an unprecedented level.
We're just on our way out to Fairfield Heights, which is in the far west of Sydney. And at about 8:30 a.m. this morning, there was a shooting on Stella Street. That young man has died at the scene.
Now the victim is known to police.
So this is Stella Street in Fairfield Heights. And what police believe happened at this point, it's barely been 2 hours since the shooting, is that a dark sedan has pulled up outside the Deng family home. It's the same spot where 2 months ago Dut Deng was arrested in the middle of the night for allegedly shooting dead Alan Meridian. And so at 8:30 a.m. that dark sedan's pulled up and a gunman has opened fire on Deng's younger brother. We've spoken to neighbours and they said they heard bang, 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 about 5 shots, and he's died there on the front lawn of the family home. That car has then sped off.
That male is known to us, and we are satisfied that the shooting was in fact a targeted one.
The whole street's still taped off. We've got police scouring every inch of Stella Street, the grass, the footpath, the bitumen. I've just received a message. Bol Deng is the name of the young guy who was shot behind us, Dut Deng's younger brother. These are the ones that are really quite tragic. They're all sad. They're all people with families, but this is just a young guy, 20 years old. It's too young to be being gunned down in a planned assassination on a Tuesday morning. There's going to be a lot of speculation that this might be a revenge attack. There was a question asked in the press conference of police, is this a revenge attack for Alan Meridian's killing? It's something we may not know for months, if we ever know. But what we do know is the death toll keeps rising. Ever since this war started in 2020, we've seen it evolve regularly. In the early days, there were the Alameddines and the Hamsies, a family feud between two of Sydney's biggest crime clans. Then in came the Comanchero, the nation's most powerful bikie gang. In recent times, there's been talk of a feud between them and the Houches. That's quite shocking because for decades the two had been side by side controlling Sydney's streets. However, what threatened to once boil over now seems to have calmed.
In the second week of February, there's talk that a message has gone around telling people in the underworld that the conflict is over. Something has been sorted out. There's a view out there that Comanchero is in trouble, that they've lost, people like Moradian. They've got some big bosses locked up, but you can't write them off. But while they've been, in the last year, hurt, the Hells Angels have been building up. Does that just set up a new conflict on the streets of Sydney? Are we going to get back to the old Hells Angels versus Comanchero war? That's one scenario that we could be left with. One thing that you can count on, Sydney won't be without a gang war. Always. Every couple of years, there'll be a war of some description.